of course 10K on the line. 3 matches, Azubu versus a TSM. Make sure you guys remember about that poll. Let's tweet at poll, followed by either Blaze or Solo Mid. And Xpecial with a flash.
Oh, good lord, that's a mistake. That is a massive mistake used straight away there. Flash burned out by Xpecial, and that was just a simple case of hitting the keyboard. Something happened, something wrong, something tragic that was straight away. And he will not be happy with that. That's going to immediately mean TSM are not going to go for any type of invade. They will back out, even if they even thought about it. But judging by the way they've set up, they weren't even thinking about it. But that is huge, because that timer is going to be down. But hopefully, you know, they've got the 2-minute gap before things really kick off. It looks like Azubu players are going to go for the invade. They are going to get the ward down, which is actually, you know, it's just standard play these days, getting that ward in that position. But immediately they could not go aggressive. And wow, you know, I've seen it happen before. I've seen it happen in finals before, and that's just a...
Well, talking about that...
Mash the keyboard. I don't know what they did.
Talking about mashing the keyboard and you know, accidentally hitting the keys, etc. Earlier today, we actually seen...
Pink ward to clear the ward.
Nijaki, in fact, accidentally, you know, he tried to flash forward, attempted to throw up his Soul Shackles and then the Zhonya's Hourglass, but he'd moved his Hourglass to number 4 on his keyboard. So as he threw his fingers over to try hit R, accidentally bumped 4, went into Hourglass, Soul Shackles was not active, came out of Soul Shackles and just got instantly blown up.
Yeah, so it's a little bit harsh when it happens. I also saw him using the Carthus ult to hit the wrong point just before he died as well. Yeah, that was a little bit harsh. We have got a pause already in the game, so, you know, tense things. And whether that's going to be a case of, you know, they've just think, oh, I just knocked the keyboard. Maybe he just threw something on the keyboard. I don't know. We're being a bit harsh. It is only the D or F key. Actually, that's assuming he hasn't rerouted his hotkeys, which is entirely possible. But it's actually, it's TSM, it's Dyrus saying he's got an issue, so he's just sorting something out. So, okay. It's time to get off the fence, Trevor. It's time for you and me to say who we're going to go with. We managed to beat around the bush, and, you know, we saw the picks. We didn't go with who we thought we were going to go with. I'm going to go big. I'm going to say TSM are going to win this 2-1.
I don't feel the same. I feel they'll take a map. I do think they will they have it in them to take 1, but I feel it's going to be 2-1 in favor of Azubu. I see that
I'm normally wrong with my predictions. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, we'll see. We will see.
But there is the poll if you want to get yourselves involved. Text to 222-333 or at poll tweet, and it's going to be Blaze or Solo Mid. The Sony Xperia poll. Feel free to get your votes on. It was 78% to Solo Mid in the first best of 3 game. This is a proper best of 3 though. No, we're not going to get all 3 games. It could go 2-0.
Yeah, so 2-0. If a team does manage to pick up 2 in a row, they get that $10,000 prize, and of course the title of MLG Summer Arena victors. My money is on Azubu. From what I've seen from them, from when they've had their backs against the wall, you know, Curse pushed them, and you know, Azubu on the back foot in that second matchup. They responded phenomenally well, and take a look at this invasion. Dyrus doesn't know the trouble he's in. He's going to face check 5 members of Azubu. Dazzle goes out, the damage, key strike, first blood, and it goes to Shen. Want to change your vote there?
It's just early days. Dyrus is just warming himself up. The pillow was playing in that fight there, I believe, and I think they need to replace it maybe. It's probably smelling a little. I didn't quite have the right thread count, wasn't ready for it. But Reginald picks up the blue buff. So blue buff from level 1 going to Reginald, which means they're going to go for the invade. They didn't use the smite, so the odd one going for the red buff now as well. You can see him coming across. I think Rise just spotted them. He came down slightly on the river there. I think he came close enough to get the vision of that river spot, so they are aware of it. Shen's going to be coming into that bush in a moment. He's going to see that it's been pulled out. Reaper is going to be there ready and waiting. Expect Rise to come down and help them out. You see the odd one backing away. Has still got that smite available, so we could have a full-on smite fight here. He's used it. The Hook managed to get it. It was the odd one, managed to take it away. Exhaust goes down on Reaper, puts the slow on him. Xpecial just throws a banana in his face on a star call, and they back away. So red buff stolen by the odd one.
And really, really interesting to see Xpecial starting with star call at level 1. So they really wanted to play aggressively. They really wanted to try put a bit of a stamping on either that jungle or this bottom lane, because of course Reaper is going 1v2, as is Dyrus up in this top lane. But that spell shield on Captain Jack, it's effectively going to make him unharassable from Dyrus, because it's just going to be blocked. It's going to be free mana. So it does mean that, you know, Lustboy is going to be the one that's going to be taking all of those seismic shards. And I actually see he has renamed himself to Lost Boy for this particular matchup. So I wonder what that is exactly in reference to.
Yeah, at the moment though, Dyrus is going to have a problem in this top lane. He's already gone, obviously, one down. And that first blood really helped out Shen down that bottom lane. He's got that Doran's shield on there. We can see Twisted Advance actually goes in, had to flash straight out of it. As soon as it happened, he realized the error of his way. Reginald pulling him in towards that tower with that flash. So at the moment, you've got the two lanes, the roles reversed. So Chaos and X Special on that bottom lane, they've had practice at this. They used the exact same tactic against Curse. They pushed and hammered. They saw how Curse did it against the Azubu Blaze as well. They saw it's possible to take that turret down first. And actually, in terms of tower health, TSM are in the lead. Captain Jack, they're putting a great burst over Dyrus there. That's what we talked about, the Dazzle and the Boomerang Blade going out. They're going to continue to harass. But Dyrus with that passive and Shen with the passive, they're both really good characters. So I think they were both completely prepared for what was about to happen. We're seeing Helios coming down the bottom lane though, but I think they're just going to be able to back away from this one. Remember, he hasn't got flash available, so he doesn't want to dive too deep.
Yeah, exactly. No escape route just yet. And interestingly enough, you pointed out that technically speaking, Team Solo Head are in fact ahead as far as tower damage goes. They put a bit of a beating down into that Azubu bottom tower, and they're actually playing Azubu at their game and saying, you know what, we've learned from our mistakes from Friday. We've seen what you did to Curse, and we know, we know what Curse did to make it successful. So we're going to try something similar. The real question is going to come in. If they win out this laning phase, will they be able to get enough of a lead to continue through to those team fight stages? Because even when Azubu were on the back foot and defending, while they were, at a gold disadvantage against Curse, their coordination and their timing on their abilities was just phenomenal. Chaos does eat a taunt under the tower. Takes one tower hit, but he's going to be able to just step away with it.
Yeah, and the setup from TSM here, they got Mundo in the jungle, who's very strong, so when he needs to come in and step in, which he just did there for Dyrus, he can take the hits, he can hang on there. Reginald is out farming as well in the middle at the moment. You can see he's just about 10 CS ahead, or about actually 5 and 6 maybe CS ahead, let's not get carried away. He did just pick up the Wraiths as well, so he's stolen the Wraiths away because Odd One was at the top lane keeping it on. But that bottom lane, you can see hammering away at it. Chaos is using every advantage. Very different play from TSM. They've managed to adopt very well the tactics that Azubu Blaze used on them in the first of the series, and this second series, which is the final, seems to be very much TSM, a very adaptive tactic. We have got Helios just hanging around in that bottom lane. Is he going to try and make a gank? They need to make something count. He's very, very good at the ganks. The question is, can he get on there? Surely going to spot him. There we go. Taunt goes on towards X Special. Smoke screen comes down. It's going to be X Special going to get dropped here. KX needs to back away from this one, so it's a successful gank, and Helios comes in there and helps out with Shen. Now Dyrus is going to try and return the things. You can see Odd One's going to come up the top there, but they're not going to be able to get close enough. So Azubu Blaze currently with that 2-0 lead, and they're diving, and again a good dive on towards Helios. It's not going to be enough though. Twisted Advance goes in and just dashed out. And
really, really smart play from Chaos there. He was facing 1 versus 2 once X Special had gone down, and
Reginald coming down bottom.
I wondered why Chaos hadn't actually fallen back, and Reaper was very, very low on energy. He does have the Petrifying Gaze, so if he can see someone, look them in their eyes, turn them to stone, it could have potentially helped. But luckily, that's happening, like you said, pointing out, giving vision, and giving Helios and Reaper all the time in the world to fall back to safety.
Yeah, ready and waiting. So again, good play from Azubu Blaze though, but they have backed off that bottom turret. Dyrus is going to go low, but they're surely going to take this bottom turret down now, so they've had to back away. And TSM are going to take full advantage, take this turret down, trying to reset that animation, get their quicker shot off. Reginald's going to back off. I thought he may have stuck around. The Odd One's trying to hold off. He can't lose that farm too long. So TSM with the very first tower, take that bottom turret down. They're going to immediately back off and go towards that top and try and hold out that top turret. This is exactly what Curse Gaming did against the Azubu, and it worked out. You can see that already the Odd One is heading up towards that north. I expect to see Chaos and X Special also going towards that north turret. We also see Maokai possibly going for an invade. He's just put a sapling down, or is it a ward on the blue buff? They just checked it out. Yeah, he's put a ward there.
So they're going to be at full vision of this. We've seen yesterday and Friday Azubu very, very good with the steals. Their timing was phenomenal. They know exactly when things come. You see Reginald's come in, the ward placement there, so they know he's there. They know he's coming close. And Reginald's sixth sense says, you know what, don't face check that. Let's not move in. It's not worth the risk. Lust Boy maybe even find himself between a rock and a hard place. 2 supports running around there, and in fact he's hiding in the Baron pit, thinking about diving into that little hole. But 9.4k gold to 9.3. The first tower did go in favor of TSM, but have they planned this one out? Look at Lost Boy. I wonder if Stand United is available. It is, in fact, so this might even just be a Stand United bait. Now we see Captain Jack coming in. Here comes Stand United. Ignite goes down. Chaos is going to be able to flash away to safety, but if he gets caught by that taunt, flash, shadow dash, one more Boomerang Blade is all that's going to be required, and Captain Jack, in fact, will pick it up with one more auto attack, but that was so well played. Teleport now coming in. It is going to put them in a little bit of trouble. That is Dyrus. He gets taunted up by beautiful, beautiful Shadow Dash from Reaper. And a flash from Captain Jack. That puts him in safety from the unstoppable force. All of a sudden, this has become a 3v4 now that Reginald has joined the party. Petrifying Gaze is available. In fact, it's not. It was used. And I believe that may have been used on Maokai. He's the only one that's missing some hit points.
Yeah, I think that was on the way up the river there. I did see they were pretty close together, so he must have had to use the ulti on the way up there. And wow, Azubu plays 3-0 up. Helios is going to help Ambition pick up that blue buff. That's going to help him out in the mid lane. And then just going to struggle to hold off this one. I don't think Expression is going to be able to stop this turret going down before Chaos rejoins it. And that was the difference. You see, Lost Boy just really baited it very well there. That was so well prepared by Azubu. Now that we've seen him a few times, we can already see the thinking pattern.
Yeah, the thing that's very interesting to me is it was such an apparent bait. You know,
yeah.
Lost Boy is never out of position with the support. He's never caught with his pants around his ankles.
It's like Tarek is walking towards me on his own.
Yeah, you know,
what's up here?
He's taken an auto attack. He's taken a buckshot. I wonder what could be going on. And, you know, you had Reaper down the bottom lane. There was no one around. He was literally just farming up the lane. So Chaos, you know, took the bait hook, line, and sinker, and ended up costing them the tower and a couple of kills there. So well played by Azubu. 3-0 up at the moment. They've evened it up in terms of towers, and now we see Reaper is maybe considering going 1v2. He's got that door and shield in the Heart of Gold, so his passive from that key strike is going to be dealing pretty, you know, decent amount of damage, but he's not going to be able to take down Chaos and Xpecial. The healing power of Soraka is just too strong.
Yeah, they have got that blue buff as well that they stole away. So at the moment, Azubu players definitely have the advantage. They are losing out in farm ever so slightly in that middle lane, but Ambition, he's got that Catalyst to Protect coming up in a moment. He's got the Tear of the Goddess already. You can see the gold is actually slightly in the favour because he picked up that assist. So Kex is now backing off. What are they going to do? How are they going to react to this one? We know how the game starts out between Azubu and TSM now. They both push those towers. It's something you don't often see, especially if it's, say, CLG, EU, Moscow 5. They'd quite happily passive farm, let them get as much gold as possible. They wouldn't even think about leaving the lane until they had 150 CS. But this time, you know, between these two teams, the meta's had to change a little. Or as Dan said earlier, the meta's got another level on top of it now. It's like it's had to adapt and build in a few more items. So now, Azubu plays, you can see Captain Jack holding that lane down that bottom lane, just getting last hits. Kerox needs to be careful he doesn't go too deep. How much? Yeah, that ward on the tribe, which okay, there's a lot of time on that ward, so there's about 2 minutes left on it, so he should be fine. But it looks like Azubu Blaze have spotted him, and they are going to collapse in around him, and he's immediately
and up in the top lane,
out.
Malphite and Shen appear to be having a little bit of a tussle. Love taps back and forth, but it is just the creep wave that's pushing towards Reaper. So that's going to play into his favor a little bit, keeping this lane under control and in favor of himself. And you know, taking a look at that farm in the middle lane, Ryze has now got that small lead, 86 to 87, compliments of the blue buff and the larger mana pool. The fact that he just recalled may actually cost him a decent chunk of HP on this tower, but farming with Ryze is particularly difficult at low levels because his auto attack animation is very slow, his auto attack damage is very bad. And take a look at this. This is Team Solo Mid playing the Azubu strategy, but Azubu immediately able to reply on the hunt, gets called up. Petrifying Gaze locks up all three members. Captain Jack at the absolute maximum range, stalled up. He didn't get his spell shield up in time. Even I didn't think he was close enough. And somehow the poison plus the ignite is enough to take down Tarek. Even through his imbue heal, that was a great play, and what an ultimate from
Top lane as well. Top lane getting hot and heavy between Dyrus. The love taps are getting a little bit more serious now, and Dyrus is definitely starting to work down Reaper there. And Reaper not able to join that fight because TSM was being so aggressive. Dyrus was really pushing it, and that's worked in their favor. They're going to pick up the first dragon of the game at 12:05. Very nicely played there, and Reaper now is just trying to farm. So TSM definitely turning things in their favor. That was the first 2 kills. Can they continue pushing on? The dragon going down. They've still only got 1 turret apiece. That middle turret taken down very low, and Captain Jack meanwhile is farming down that bottom line. 109 CS to 72, so there's a big CS advantage between the 2 AD carries currently, which is unusual because KX normally farms very well, but obviously that switch that worked, the bait at the top, has actually put him behind a little.
And keep in mind as well, not only that baiting the death, etc. on the switch, Chaos is playing a form of the game that he's not 100% comfortable with. We've talked about Chaos and how well he farms in that bottom lane, how many CS he gets, but that was in European meta. That was in a time when you would farm for 10, 15, 20 minutes. They're out of the laning phase at 12 minutes, and it shows. Chaos is not used to farming under these conditions, under this super aggressive playstyle.
But my impression from the first set of games we had between these 3, Reginald picks up the blue buff there, was that TSM were much stronger when it actually came to a team fight. the reason they lost the first game was because they were so far behind in the tower pushes. They just the tower pushes did all the work for them. Lustboy there getting caught out, silent straight away as he tries to put the dazzle out. But Reginald's coming again back in towards the middle, and it's TSM being the aggressor here. This is what we're used to seeing from TSM. They are the aggressive team, and Reginald said it in the very first interview. Who is more aggressive than I am? Well, you know, Azubu players have kind of proved it, but they are going to lose out on the second turret of the game here, and the mid turret goes down to TSM. I tell you what, I think the fanboys are going to be going crazy here, because I am loving what I see right now.
It's a great, great game kicking it off. And, you know, Reginald, the first item he's actually picked up is, in fact, the Haunting Guise. Now, this is something we've seen out of the likes of Rumble, for example, opting to go for a little bit of ability power and then obviously following it up with that Haunting Guise. It makes a lot of sense when considered there is a decent amount of damage. Take a look around the blue buff area on the invasion. Is this going to be the next big engagement? But, you know, Double Doran, Sorcerer's Shoes, and that Haunting Guise going for the penetration with Cassiopeia, opting to get those Twin Fangs up. The odd one is now thinking about this. TSM want to pick this fight. TSM are hanging around. Stand United is available. Here comes the Sadism. Teleport actually comes in as well. Let's see how this one plays out. It looked like it was cancelled though. Dyrus is actually there on the ward. And Azubu, they didn't want to pick that fight. They didn't want to engage. And it's because of the engagement power of the Sadism plus Unstoppable Force plus Petrifying Gaze. It's a lot of Team CC and Team Lockdown that Azubu can't really stand up against if they're all caught by it.
And you know what? TSM have now adjusted to their standard game style. This is what they do. They go tutorial style. They take out the top, the middle, the bottom. They'll quite happily take them all out. They might even go for Reaper here, but I think they're just going to hammer down at the turret. So TSM now, you know, after the initial lane phase, which they had to adjust to how Azubu were, I think they're going to slip into their standard style now. There's like, okay, we've made that adjustment. We were better in the team fights, and we feel we have the game now. And it maybe proved itself that Azubu didn't want to get involved in that. Like you say, the team comp is just right for TSM.
The team composition here as well, you know, Azubu are going to be relying on kiting ability. They're going to need, you know, Ryze and Sivir to get into a position where they can throw out both of their ultimates. Take a look at that tower. A lot of damage from Captain Jack in the bottom lane, pushing it up quite a little bit. When you consider, you know, Ambition's going to be able to throw out that what is Ryze's ultimate called? But it gives them the new movement speed buff, Desperate Power, in conjunction with Sivir's On the Hunt. That's going to give the entire team a movement speed buff. When they eventually get a Shirelia's Reverie as well, the kiting, the mobility, the dancing power that they have is going to be immense. But until they're able to dance around TSM, they cannot take a straight up engagement because there's too much crowd AoE CC.
But in terms of item build, you can see that Sivir is ahead at the moment. He's got that Bloodthirster on there. He's got around about 40-50 CS advantage, which is a pretty big thing for Captain Jack there, because while all this has been going on, he's been down that bottom lane just farming, which is what Chaos generally would do. He is doing it now. He's starting to pick up the golems there. He's going to pick up that wave, double wave coming up the top there, so he's going to bring him back into it a little bit. He's almost got the Bloodthirster complete, but he did go double Dorans. You can see in terms of gold, he's 1,000 gold behind Captain Jack right now. But Graves is a little bit more versatile when it comes to the team fights. Despite Sivir's ulti, he can definitely manage to hang around that back, get that collateral damage across, get the buckshot across, and he'll be spreading it across the whole team. Now, if Unstoppable Force comes out from Dyrus, and Reginald maybe lands that, come on, man, help me out with the ultimate.
Shadow Dash Taunt.
Of course, that's the exact word I was after. But if he managed to land the ulti across the entire team, which he has done already on the 3-man in the mid, it could be a big turnaround for TSM. But as it is at the moment, the bottom lane, you can see Dyrus has got a 3-man pushing him at the moment on that bottom turret. So TSM are going to take advantage and maybe push in the middle. And Dyrus is looking like, he's going to have to give up this bottom turret.
I'm at an absolute loss for words right now because the gold is bang on even. 17 minutes in, we've only had 5 kills. Take a look at the middle lane now as well. TSM are going to say, you know what, you want to take the outer one, we'll take the interior turret. Little Rune Prison on the odd one and some love taps between them. But bang on even, completely locked up. If TSM get a good engagement, they're going to melt Azubu. But Azubu, they're just... I don't fully understand the thought process right now. You know, Graves, once again, you see Karox pushing the lane down, pushing the towers, you know, so it's 3-2. Azubu have at least taken both of the top and bottom lane towers, but they're playing very passive, and I think they're giving TSM the respect that, you know, they know that they deserve. They've seen TSM play, they know that TSM have been watching their games. And Azubu are waiting for that moment to commit. When we see them playing against TSM on Friday, they wouldn't overcommit. You know, they would pick up a tower, pick up an objective, and immediately back off unless they were 100% certain it was going to go in their favor. If they don't do something about Captain Jack's farm, if they fall a little bit behind in terms of gold, because they do have a tower advantage and they're 200 gold behind, it could be worrisome for TSM.
Yeah, indeed. Captain Jack, they need to deal with. He's got Helios protecting him. Helios going double GP10 as well. Something we've not really seen because the ganks weren't working for him this so far, and he hasn't even picked up an Oracle either, so they've had to make that tactical decision. The blue buff's going to get picked up by Reginald here. Maokai is lingering, so Helios maybe wants to deal with this one, and he will just catch a glimpse of Reginald there. They will have seen it. They're not going to go for it though. Dragon is available. Are they going to move towards that? It looks like all the teams are starting to work this way. We do have Dyrus at the top, and he hasn't got teleport available just yet. It will be up now. Teleport is now available. He could come in there. There's no ward for him to go through, so TSM needs to put a ward down. There's the ward. There's the teleport. Here they go. TSM going to go for this one. Unstoppable force from Dyrus. Can it land on the right target? It's going to be a full-on 5-man fight. Unstoppable force. Perfect. Hits all 4 of them. They're going to get straight in there. The Maokai ulti. Helios is going to get dropped down first, but the other one's taken down very low. And that's going to be Reginald going down as well. He picked up a kill just before he ended it there. Didn't even see where the dragon got picked up. It didn't. It backed away. Dyrus gets a beautiful taunt from reappeared on him there, and Dyrus will go down. No, just tries to flash away. Not enough though. The odd one's taken down very low. They're going to come around the backside. X-Special going to drop as well. That's an Oracle gone on TSM as well. And Azubu Blaze know how to react. Despite the unstoppable force hitting all of them, Azubu Blaze come out on top.
Yeah, it was so well played. After that unstoppable force hit, Azubu immediately dispersed. They were caught in place, but then they just went sort of 2 or 3 directions. One to the left of the river, one to the back of the river, one to the right of the river. They activated all of their ultimates and then just came back in and committed on one target after the other because, of course, they had all gone in and very deep. Azubu pick up the interior turret. They're going to fall back, pick up this dragon. And that's going to be, 2,000 gold to them. They're going to be able to pick that up and run away with it. Look at those stats for both Dyrus and Reaper. 7 kills to 3 deaths as opposed to 2.5 kills for 3 deaths. Reaper a bit ahead in terms of the KDA.
Yeah, you've got to give it that Jax versus Black. That's what kind of pimped his stats a little bit there, Reaper. But as it is at the moment, TSM have just lost that tiniest little advantage they had.
Something else to think about and make note of. Just before the fight had actually started, we've seen Captain Jack in that bottom lane. He was putting some pressure onto the tower, but I noticed 1 or 2 of the crits that were hitting for 550 damage. Middle tower's going to be bashed away. They'll probably get this down below half before they're forced to fall back. But 550 damage on each of the creeps before getting into that fight, if you account champions have higher armor, etc., that's really hitting 300, 350 damage per attack. Chaos simply did not have a Bloodthirster and a Zeal in that fight. So AD versus AD, which is predominantly one of the most pivotal roles in those big engagements, Captain Jack was literally allowed to freely damage everybody because Chaos is just 70 CS behind.
Yeah, and you can see he's a long way ahead now. He's got around about 2,000 gold over him. He's nearly got the Phantom Dancer completed as well, along with that Bloodthirster already. So he is doing a fantastic job as it stands. But looking across, Taric is going to GP10 build, as you'd expect from the supports. So just going to look across and see X-Special. X-Special's only got the 1 GP10 item as well, so he's also falling behind. He's only managed to go for that Sunfire gem, the Kindle gem, I should say, not Sunfire gem. But Azubu Blaze continuing to push now. For the first time, they have that tower advantage, and they're driving it home. And it was interesting to see, once they picked up that advantage, they went straight for the inner turret and not back for the dragon.
Correct. And of course, it makes a lot of sense where they are. But being on the blue team, well, in fact, either team, but the blue team's slightly stronger. If you push that bottom lane out, if you get all the way to the inhibitor, League of Legends 101, it's the basic rules. Get super creeps in the bottom lane, take a Baron. And something that we've seen from Azubu, or actually not seen from Azubu as much as we have from the Western teams, they're less likely to go for Baron unless they know it's going to be a safe pickup. They don't really play with the Baron dance. They don't really bait around the Baron. They'll either go and pick it up, or they just won't touch it at all. And, the time that we've seen them playing against Team Solomon, I think it was game number 2, TSM was starting Baron, they were pulling it. They came in, and Reaper managed to land a beautiful Hemo plague across the entire team and picked up a very strong team fight win. 6-3, 4 towers to 3, 2,500 gold lead. It's still pretty even.
It's still a 50 CS gap, though, between a Phantom Dance, Brilliant Spot, and Bloodthirster for Captain Jack versus Chaos. And he's definitely falling behind with that one. We just saw TSM all back in there. We just saw Azubu all back in as well. I think they're definitely going to start positioning themselves for that Baron fight. You can see the wards that got picked up there. There's only 3 wards for TSM. I can't see how many going out there. It's about the same for Azubu there, but look at Captain Jack just ripping into the back of the odd one there. He wasn't really able to take too much damage, despite the fact he's got the Aegis and Legion on there and that Heart of Stone plus the Kindle Gem, trying to get those Shirelias on towards Mundo. And as it is, he can't really stand a bang with the AD carry, which could be a problem when they start to get into team fights.
Well, he's taking 250 damage per crit on the odd one, and he's got a total health pool of 2,100. So, 8 to 10 auto attacks, it's going to be a dead odd one. And when Sivir activates on the hunt, she gets that movement speed buff, that attack speed buff. She's going to be landing them very, very quickly. She's also, of course, got that boomerang blade that she can toss out, the bouncing blades as well. You know, there you go, 522 crits now coming out of Chaos that he has picked up his Zeal, but he's 1,650 gold behind his counterpart. Azubu setting up for the second blue buff steal of the game.
Yeah, and that is another blue buff. So Azubu Blaze, who's they're going to give to? Oh, it's just catching on. And, you know, TSM are just, they know it's there, they know they're there, and they can't go in there. Oh, we're seeing Mundo coming round. The odd one's going to try maybe engage here. As soon as he spotted them, though, they all backed away. They're like, yep, we have lost the blue buff, we have our jungle invaded. And it's amazing it's all come off the back of that one simple team fight. Darius needs to be careful here. I think he realizes that they are off the side. The odd one just manages to face check, gets it out, checks it out, and Azubu plays back away. So we have a small standing point here. And I don't think Azubu are going to set up for that Baron fight. I think they're just going to quite happily continue pushing these lanes.
Until they have super minions, I don't think they'll do that at all.
Yeah, they're not one of these teams that stands, you know, we do see it a lot in the Western world that we have that stance, that everyone just stands off, faces each other. But Captain Jack is just being in the right time to farm lanes. So now they see him at top. Will TSM try and push an advantage? Dyrus is coming down the bottom lane. TSM looking like they're going to try and push that mid lane. They realize that Shen is not in that pack ahead of them. They can see, obviously, in that top lane, they can see that Captain Jack is there, which is why Dyrus is being aggressive. They're going to try. They want the red buff, but he's not there.
Yeah, and the thing that definitely needs to be pointed out is that Captain Jack...
Helios might get caught out.
Helios does manage to juke at least one of those infected cleavers. Effectively just walks away to safety. But I would love to see a Radiant's Omen coming out of Azubu. When you look, Dr. Mundo, Malphite, Graves, they're going to be relying on a bit of mobility. They're going to be relying on that quick draw to get themselves to safety. You know, Dr. Mundo is going to be trying to run rampant and dive onto Captain Jack, try to stick to him as best as they can. And if they're able to pick up that Randians, slow everybody down, you know, make sure they reduce the attack speed, make sure they reduce the movement speed, and really allow their kiting team composition to come into fruition, that's definitely something they need to work towards. Interesting itemization, actually. Shen, Sunfire Cape and Wit's End, not necessarily the traditional way to build it. We can assume that Captain Jack is going towards a Quicksilver Sash. We see the Glacial Shroud, Tear of the Goddess, Catalyst the Protector, and a Negatron Cloak on Rise. So, you know, he does scale off mana as well as ability power, so that doesn't make sense. But not having completed a Rod of Ages at 25, 26 minutes, I wonder if that's going to become a Banshee's Veil.
It may well become. I do believe I saw Shen build a Rabadon's Death Cap against Curse Gaming.
Wow.
On Shen. It was obviously, they were a long way ahead at the time, so I think it was more a case of having some fun. But yeah, definitely interesting to see how he builds it this time. I think it's going to be a bit more serious. And the boots of ability on Helios. Helios has not been able to get himself involved in this game. So at the moment, he's starting to play catch-up, but he's got that Aegis Legion now. He did have the GP10 items earlier on because he realized he wasn't going to get the ganks because TSM had played in their right way. The question is, you know, we talked about how TSM were better in the team fights. As it is, we've only seen one. They've came out below it. I think it's playing them very, very nervous, the Azubu Blaze right now. And
I really like the Negatron Cloak for Captain Jack once again, because Unstoppable Force, magic damage. Everything Reginald does, magic damage. The odd one, you know, the Burnout, etc. The Burning Agony, magic damage. Of course, if you land some auto attacks, it's going to be, you know, pretty decent and meaty, but that survivability is going to help a huge amount. And Azubu have extended their goal lead. They're pulling further and further ahead. Captain Jack is still farming at traditional...
And he's extending his lead.
Yeah, that's it. He's still farming at traditional, you know, European pro level standards of about 10 CS per minute, which is what we see out of the carries and generally the AP mids as well. And he's doing that while all of this lane swapping is going on, while all of this mobility is happening. We have seen him moving into the jungle, you know, several times. So that's not necessarily 250 creeps at full gold value. But regardless, it's absolutely amazing play. And TSM, they need to stop the rots. They
2,500 ahead in gold. That's a mighty item right there. That he's going to be
2 parts of Infinity Edge.
2 parts of Infinity Edge, and what is he building towards? He's just gone back. I think he's just picked up the red buff as well, and it is the Quicksilver Sash, of course. So he's going to be getting out of any stun, any unstoppable force, or something like that. Actually, the Cassiopeia ulti is probably more likely.
And keep in mind, Knockups, Mr. Dan Analytics Din was pointing out to me, Knockups actually cannot be cleansed from the Quicksilver Sash. So the only thing
you're not going to just drop back down and
exactly. You know, like Gravity Boots, for example, compliments of Portal. But, you know, obviously, if he gets locked up by the Petrifying Gaze, or even worse, you know, silenced from X Special, or slowed from the Meat Cleavers from the Odd One, it's not necessarily super hard CC outside of Reginald's Petrifying Gaze, but he needs to have that ability to go, look, let me get rid of this. In conjunction, it's going to get rid of the Igniter as well. So, you know, you've got to remember that as well.
So, TSM, how are they going to get themselves out of this one? They've started to dig themselves into a bit of a hole. They are just shy of 6,000 gold behind now. They really need to pick someone off. Dyrus has been able to AFK farm down the sides at the moment, but you can see that tower is being chipped away at, which is a phrase I have used many times in the past. And in terms of TSM, it was them that were doing it back at Gamescom. Dyrus is farming up very nicely though. So Dyrus is getting stronger and stronger while this will happen. I like the build that he's gone with. He's gone more the Wicked stance as well with those Sorcerer's Boots. His ult is going to be doing a bit of damage. That's some fire cape in there as well. Can they get Reaper there? They have managed to spot him, but he does manage to just dash away from that one. And they're going to, again, be forced into a bit of a fight. Do they feel they can pick someone off here? I'm not sure. Maybe if they collapse around, they've realized it, they've pinged him. Can they get on towards Lustboy there? They've spotted where he is. They know he's got the Oracle. Do they want to bait onto this one, though? You know, Shen could easily ulti straight on top of him.
And you know what? If they did blow the unstoppable force on Taric, Lostboy's going to say thank you very much.
Yeah.
There's my dazzle. We do see Shirley's come up. The Twisted Advance is going to be onto Helios. Now we see the Vengeful Maelstrom comes out. Dyrus still has not thrown that unstoppable force. We're waiting for it to happen. The Petrifying Gaze goes across, manages to only really catch Taric. It is a 1-for-1 trade thus far, but it is the support for the jungler, so that's a trade you take any day. Double kill for Captain Jack, as if he didn't have enough gold or kills already. Another very, very good fight for Azubu, and that is exactly what we said. Lost Boy is going to say thank you very much. I'm happy to take the focus. I'm happy to take the damage because the rest of my team's going to kill you.
Indeed, and that's how it worked. 4-0-3 for Captain Jack. Now farming continues, so he's just pushing that lane a little bit more. You can see Shen going down that bottom lane. Did have to use his ulti, so he can't get back into there as quickly as possible, but Reginald might be able to catch on towards Captain Jack here. Has managed to get the slowdown. Twin Fan coming out as well. Does manage to land the poison again, but Ambition just cuts him off and says, you leave my AD carry alone. Captain Jack just walks away. Boomerang Blade comes out, just picks up a little bit more CS as he backs away. And, well, he's going to have a stack of gold in him. Did use the Quicksilver Sash in there. Didn't see what he used it for, but he got himself and saved himself during that fight.
After this match, for our nice replay, I'd love it if Danton could actually touch on a little thought that I've just had. Take a look at the items that you see on Team Solo Mid. The Haunted Guys that was sitting on Reginald, he picked that up very early. Spirit Visage, that's been picked up by the Odd One. He picked that up a couple of minutes ago. Zeke's Herald, been picked up by Soraka. And then, of course, if you look at Dyrus's build, he does have the Sorcerer's Shoes. He's had that Sunfire Cap for a while, as well as the Philo Stone, the Kindle Gem, now the Chain Vest and the Merc thing. So there's no real big items. In comparison, Shen, Wit's End, Sunfire Cape, Negatron Cloak, and the Heart of Gold. So, he's had the bigger item for slightly longer. Do those smaller, cheaper items put TSM further behind because they're not as powerful or as effective as the more standard high-ticket items?
It's definitely something to look at the moment, though. Captain Jack is just a farming machine right now. 300 CS to 215 CS, and Captain Jack is definitely very used to this meta style, and he quite happily farms up. He's going to go back. I expect a rather large item going to come out, because I think he's sitting on a big stack of gold, 2,200, 2,300 gold, and he's going to maybe pick up, what's he going to go with? It is a Last Whisper, of course, so now the armor penetration to go with. Really, there's not a lot of armor out there other than the Aegis Legion helping things out.
And look at the Force of Nature now picked up by Shen.
Oh, my word.
They are playing a full kite team. The movement speed buff that's going to be given to that, of course, he's got fairly high hit points already, 2,900, so all of that regen's going to come into play. It's going to help his key strike. Azubu are literally playing a you cannot catch me game. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, you cannot catch Azubu Blaze because they're just going to be running riot.
They are going to be running riot, and they're also using the traditional split push style that you get with Shen. And you know what? They can push and push and push, and I'm not too sure how much TSM can push back, because Reaper is going to be driving in. This mid tower, I think they're going to have to give up on it in a moment. You can see that TSM are going to try and go up the top there. Guardian Angels on Dyrus now has completed one of those items you were talking about. But TSM, on the next minion wave, I think Siva's going to take this turret down. You can see Captain Jack just wants to get one more hit. There he goes. Turret down in mid. And now, honestly, they're just getting pushed back, push back, push back. This is just like we saw in game one. But, they were a little bit more ahead. They were about 9-0 ahead in turrets to start with.
Yeah, very true. But even so, that very first set of games where we see them on the back foot, they fell about 10k gold behind. I think the Odd One actually touched on that in the pre-game interview, saying, you know what, we were so far behind in gold, but we were still winning team fights. There's only been one team fight. Take a look at this. Ambition comes up. He's going to be held in place with that Petrifying Gaze. Vengeful Maelstrom now comes across everybody. Reginald's going to be the first one to fall from Team Solo Mid, and the Unstoppable Force came out from Dyrus, but it was not hugely effective because X Special and Dyrus are going very, very low. He does have that second lease on life, though. Compliments of The Guardian's Angel Whistle has yet to be procced just yet. Another long-range twisted advantage from Gilios. He's going to land this Arcane Smash. Reaper has managed to land the Shadow Dash Taunt. The odd one is going to go down, followed very quickly by Xpecial. 5 members of Azubu. Double kill for Captain Jack. They pick up a tower as well.
Why did the Xpecial turn back in there? I didn't see what pulled him back in. He didn't get taunted, did he? I don't think.
I'm not 100% certain. Reaper did catch, at the very least, the odd one with that taunt. So he may have just landed it onto Xpecial. But look at this now. Tower's down. They know there's nobody respawned. It's a safe Baron. And this is what you see out of Azubu every time.
Very, very safe. And that was an Oracle gone as well for Xpecial there. So that's really going to hurt them. Just as they were further behind in gold. He has picked up the level 2 boots now. But 11-4. With a Baron going down, a 12k gold advantage, a 3 turret advantage, and that Baron equates to, I think we always figure it out, it's a lot of gold,
it's
better to put it that way,
chunk
in terms of items on the across the board. And we also see another 2k, so we just saw Siva buy an item. Let's have a look to see what that was. Also, of course, another BF sword, because you need more damage.
The scary thing is, this is 33 minutes into the game, and Captain Jack is almost at a full complete build. You know, generally you see that sort of itemization around the 40, 45, 50-minute mark, you know, really super late game. But 317 CS, multiple dragons, Baron, and 604. And take a look at Reaper, 407. Even Ambition, one step better than James Bond, 008.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job, and well, he's managed to get that Abyssal Scepter in there as well for a long time now. So that magic resist will be drawn down. It's going to help across the board, of course, with Maokai in there. And I guess, to an extent, Shen as well.
Yeah.
But as it is at the moment, Dyrus is having to farm away from the team. He has got the Guardian's Angel, didn't get spotted. They are going to push down towards that bottom lane. Shen's got a big wave. I think it's a double wave, maybe even a triple wave coming up. It's a no, it's just a single. I lied. It's the siege minion coming in there, and they are going to work their way up there. But this is where TSM have to hold the line. They cannot let one of these turrets go down. They have to go CLG style without an Nivea, but they cannot let it through. Reginald has to get that poison down. He has to get the slow on the minions. But, well, Azubu Blaze with that Baron there, just going to come straight in, and it's going to rip that turret apart. There's nothing that TSM could do about that one. They just stood there. Dyrus tried to keep that Sunfire Cape doing all the work. Guardian Angel's going to get popped already. Gaex is doing his best he can to stay away from it. The inhibitor's going to go down. The Stop Force has not been used. Didn't even get a chance to, I don't think. He gets taken down before the Stop Force was even used there. I think it was silenced out of it. Didn't see what it was, but TSM are getting pushed and pushed into their base, onto the fountain, and the Nexus turrets maybe will be the next target, but as Azubu Blaze come in, they just walk in open-handedly and take the inhibitor turret away.
Yeah, thank you very much. No invite needed. Just walk straight in, pick it up, and walk straight back out. The interesting thing that we've looked at now, you know, 35 minutes into the game, you see a little bit of engagement. Rune Prison, double overload plus 1 crit from Captain Jack is all that's required to take Reginald out. Now they've turned their attention to Chaos, double kill for Captain Jack. Can anyone stop the AD carry from Korea? TSM, they've showed they know what to do during the laning phase. They've showed we've learned our lesson. We're not going to go down 6 towers to 0 in the first 20 minutes. But they've also shown once it transitions into the teamfight stages, they're still a little bit lacking.
It was very much lacking. Like you said, they started off the advantage, and that dragon fight seemed to be the key of the whole fight.